Hello everybody. This video is designed to help you do your standards-based report card project. And I wanted to make sure that all of you are understanding what you're supposed to do. I know that we talked about this in class, but sometimes people forget or not pay attention, whatever the case may be. All right, so the first thing I've done here is I have scanned in this is an example of a student's progress report that I printed off and went over in class with you, and their particular scores, as well as the standard letters that I used, A being scale factor, B being proportions and unit rate. That also includes percent. C, rational numbers. D, E, and F are your algebra strands of equations, expressions, and inequalities. And then triangles and angles are G and H. So first, make sure that you have all of your assignments from quarter two properly categorized. If you want to double check and make sure that you've done that correctly, you can do that here. This is the first page of that. And then here is your second page. And at any time you can pause this video and double check and make sure. And then here is our third page here. And like I said, you can go through and check. So a couple of rules. One, don't pay attention to the category summary because that was for quarter three and we're looking at quarter two. Over here, your percent grades, whatever they happen to be, you can round everything to the nearest whole number. So this grade here, for example, would round up to 86. That one would round up to 95. This one, however, would not round. That would stay at 89. So when you are looking at everything that you're supposed to be doing, let me make sure. So this is the standards-based report card template that's been given. What I'd like for you to do is just go ahead and write down everything on here. I can give you a fresh copy of that if you would like to have a clean one to use before you turn it in. But let's make sure that you understand what you're supposed to be doing. In the standards-based report card, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 mathematical sections. You answer a few questions here, and then parents will write down responses to what you presented to them in this section. Let's focus on the math components. So this box right here, math mean, that is the proportional grade of minors and majors. To calculate that, either use the classroom calculators or this is how you do this. Go to Google, then type in Barker Math. I am the first hit. When you get to here, I want you to click on the left to 7 plus. And then you will have the calculators that you can use online to do your project. So the first thing that I'm going to do is you would calculate the average of all of your minors by keying in every single grade and then dividing that by how many minors you have. And whatever that number is, that's half your grade. Then repeat that process for your majors. You only have 3. So this student had an 80, a 95, and a 100. So for our purposes here, I'm going to key in 80, 95, and 100. So that student has a 92 in this major section. Now I'm not going to go through and key in all of these minor grades for you, but if you wanted to, you could go here to mean and median calculator, and this will show up. And see how I'm going to drag this down? You can do that, and then if you could just key in the numbers like 85, 90, 100, I'm just making things up here, then you can just click on calculate, and you will get the mean and the median, actually. And in this instance, there is no mode. So once you have, let's say you had a 92 majors, and let's say that you had a 96. If you wanted to key that in, this, well, you can't do that here, but it would be a 94. So going back to here, you would click in 94 in this section. And that would be your average for that particular component. That's it for that section. So I could key in 94. Now here, this is what the stem and leaf plot's purpose was in class. That's when you were supposed to go through and categorize by finding the median of each section. So I would write in all of my H's, A through H, and then calculate what the median is for each section. Remember that if something was coded as all, then you would list it for every single part. So many of you who have higher grades in class, you're going to find that your medians were actually 100s or 95s, or they were basically all above 90. So I'm just going to make up some figures so that you can see. Let's see that the scale factor median, remember this is median, was a 90. Then this person got a 92, 89, 95. Again, I'm just making this up so that you can see what it looks like. 96, 97, let's say 91, and 88. Let's go back here and do 91. So then you use the standards-based grading scale over here. This is how I want you to key that. This person would then get a 3 because that was all of what we taught last quarter of standards. This was on grade level. The only things that were above grade level were your algebra strands. Remember that in class. There you can give yourself a 3.5 or a 4. Everything else you would be a 3. So this person then would have a 3 here. For rational numbers, this person would have a 3. However, here this person would certainly qualify to have a 4 because a 4 was a 90 to 100. So 4 there, 4 there, 4 there. Then we drop back down to 3s here and there. So, and you can make that cleaner and make it look like however you want here. For the box and whisker plot that's going down here, however, you're going to go back to your data and key in this person's information completely. So I'm going to go in and show you this to give you an idea of what that would look like if you were going to use the online computer page. So I'm going to go to 5-number summary and see how I can scroll and make this go up and down. That makes it a little bit easier to key in. So I'm going to, like I said, key in all of these grades. Remember that they only get keyed in one time and that they're all of equal weight. So this person had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hundreds on this page. A 62 and a 71. Then we go to this page here and this person had 100, 80, 100, 100, 75, 100, 86, 100, 90, 71, 80, 95, 86, 100. Then I'm going to go down here to the final page. There were 300s there. 89, 90, 77, 500s. Make sure that you don't key in 500 to try and save yourself time because the computer here is going to count each of these data entry points as a number. If you were to key that in as a 500, then what you're telling the computer is that somebody got a 500 grade. Then hit calculator. And if you look carefully, you would see the numbers that would go into this person's box plot, which would be a 62 and 87 and 100, 100, and 100. Now, I will show you in class what to do with that because that's going to be a weird looking box plot, and I anticipated that. That's not a problem. It's kind of hard to show that on here with the program that I've got, but I can show you how to do that in class. But essentially, well, let me see if I can figure this out real fast for you. Okay, so it would look something like this. So when you look at your 5-number summary, you have 62, 87, 100, 100, 100. When your quartiles all back up like that, you end up just drawing one box, and this dot here tells you that that's also your biggest number. So some of your box plots are only going to have one box because you do not have enough data to make it out of the 4 quartiles, because in this student, for example, half of this person's data is below 100, and then the rest of it is all at 100. So let's go back up here. So I had to close out the previous screen in order to do this. So you'd have a grade, then you'd have these numbers and the standards. Then you calculate the MAD. And the MAD, and let me give you a little bit of advice here to make this easier. When you calculate all this information, your data is saved. So let's just copy and paste that. Going back to my site, go to the MAD calculator. I'm going to paste in my data. My MAD is 8.25, so round up to the nearest whole number, it is an 8. And that would be up here in this part, there. And then you would remember what MAD correlates to if you have a low MAD versus a high MAD, and how that relates to variability. Watch this as many times as you can. Again, I'm sorry that that didn't show up. I can try and key that in again, but it gets a little wonky when I do that. As you can see, it was a 94. But you get the right idea, I believe. And make that smaller. And then remember, we had the standard-based scores, and then we had the 4s, or the 3s rather, except for the 4s in algebra. So if you have any questions, let me know.